Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us tmosso@the1916company.com. It is in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any of our platforms. Reach out to us for pricing, tmosso@the1916company.com. Today we're discussing a limited edition of 306 pieces launched for the 2022 model year. Now, of course, in 2021, Girard-Perregaux and Aston Martin launched a long-term association. So GP has been created watches that are Aston Martin themed, and this one really goes all out. Everything from the strap to the case to the dial is imbued either with the spirit or the literal pieces of Aston Martin cars. So you're looking at the Laureato Absolute Chronograph Aston Martin. It is made of a fusion of carbon and titanium, literally taken from two Aston Martin F1 team cars. Even the strap has been impregnated with carbon from Aston Martin F1 race car tires. So there's a lot to love here. It's part of the Laureato Absolute family, which is to the Laureato what a Royal Oak offshore is to a Royal Oak. So it's big, but it doesn't wear quite as large as the bare measurements. 44 millimeters in diameter. It is 15.3 millimeters thick, and then from lug tip to lug tip, 54.4 millimeters, but at least to my eye and to my wrist, this has always felt more like a 42 or a 43. It doesn't feel anything like a 44 millimeter Royal Oak offshore, which I just generally cannot wear, whereas I could easily wear this both in terms of security on the wrist and aesthetically. I think you can wear this on a wrist 16 centimeters circumference and up. I'll move away, I'll give you some more perspective. I don't think there are any fit issues here whatsoever. Given that it's made entirely of titanium, carbon, rubber, and sapphire, it's also very light on the wrist, and you can see that down the barrel from a distance over the top and the cuff shot. Now, the strap. As with a Laureato bracelet, it's fully integrated, so you have this uninterrupted sweep from case to lugs into strap and down. The Laureato, created in 1975, was one of the original integrated bracelet sports watches, so as much as any Vacheron, Patek, IWC, or Audemars Piguet, this style is native to Girard-Perregaux sports watches. They were there at the beginning, and they are co-owners of this style. We have a combination of green textile right here with a contrasting stitch and then matte finished rubber. You can see some little elements like the continuation of the bevel into the band. The combination of rubber and textile is attractive. There are some chevrons on the bottom to hopefully hold the strap in place when it's tightened down. You can see externally we have a combination of titanium, and then internally there are a few parts that are made of either composite or plastic that are designed to give improved fit. So we have this little push button here, and when you push the button, you can move back and forth this little incremental notched slider so that once the strap is physically fixed to the pins of the buckle, you still have a little bit of fine-tuning and micro-adjustment so you can fine-tune the fit and get a really perfect match, and I love that. You can also see here we have a combination of polish and satin, so attention to detail, differential finish so these pieces pop, twin trigger release so it can't pop open accidentally. 100 meters water resistant. It is a motorsports themed watch, but it's suitable for swimming. It does have a screw down crown. We have the case made of a combination of carbon fiber and titanium from Aston Martin race cars. So you can see there's almost a dusting of titanium in the material. This angle really shows it to good advantage. You can see that there are metallic deposits. That's the titanium. A little bit more subtle, though still visible. You can see in the carbon fiber composite, there are both carbon fragments that are naturally black and gray, and then we have some Aston Martin racing green, which came from some carbon panels that were painted the racing color of the Aston Martin racing team. Now, I'm a big motorsports fan, mostly endurance sports cars, but this is a tribute to Aston Martin's Formula One endeavors. Now, of course, Aston Martin with Roy Salvadori and Carroll Shelby. They won Le Mans overall back in 1959, more recently at Le Mans success with various GT cars in production-based classes, but this watch came out back when Lance Stroll and Sebastian Vettel were driving for the then new and upstart Aston Martin racing team, which uses this Aston Martin racing green. It's not British racing green. It's a metallic green with some undertones of blue that is unique to those cars. They also feature a little bit of signal yellow, which you can see here. The pushers feature a combination of polished and satin finished fastening. It's a nice little differentiation, a pop of different finish on components that are often overlooked by other brands. You can see that the shape of the crown is the same shape of the bezel, so we have that distinctive design that's an icon of Girard-Perregaux. We have a cross-hatching design on the dial. We have little concentric patterns inside the registers. There's a flange outboard with overlapping indices. Let's do a quick loom shot so you can easily see that the watch is well loomed, though only the time, not the chronograph functions. The watch is a modular chronograph, so you can see if you look very carefully that the center line of the pushers is above the center line of the crown. So we have a modular complication here, and we do have a hacking seconds function, so you can stop the watch and set it to a reference time. And we also have a quick set date, so you can rapidly set the date if the watch runs down or encounters an irregular length month. Now, one nice thing about this chronograph system here is because it's modular, it also has a vertical clutch, so when you engage it, there's no extraneous motion to the chronograph seconds hand. A vertical clutch doesn't have meshing teeth the way a conventional lateral clutch does, so when you start this up, it's a very precise system with no unwanted leap or stagger. You can see we have the GP logo polished and applied up there. On the reverse side, the Aston Martin Racing logo. So what you're looking at is actually the logo of what was then the Aston Martin Aramco Cognizant Formula One team, with the traditional Aston Martin wing logo that's been around since the very earliest pre-war days of the brand. Underneath this, we have what is fundamentally a Girard-Perregaux 3300 tractor caliber, a unidirectional automatic winding, 4 Hertz beat rate. It is a 46-hour power reserve, and it is nicely decorated with a combination of attractive beveling, engine turning, blued screws, and a really nice solarization on the barrel cap, which you can see right there. The locating pins used to locate bridges on the base plate, those are also polished on their heads, which I appreciate. You have here a combination of a mainspring letdown and a crown release for the watchmaker. People often ask about those. You can see we have circular Côte de Genève on the rotor, linear on the bridges, and then the edge of the rotor is nicely beveled. It's all quite attractive. And again, because it's a modular chronograph with a module on an automatic base, you wind up with a really high joule count of 63, so that's what that's all about. A great watch from a great brand, and GP, newly independent and free of its luxury group, now owned by its management. We can happily call them an independent brand once again, and I am cheering for them. If you love this watch, reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.